Here is a look at Alonso's journey in his managerial career. May 2018, he was hired as coach of Real Madrid's under-14 squad, and then 1 year later hired as head coach of Real Sociedad B, and then the big job came in October when he was appointed Bayer Leverkusen manager, a squad that was in 17th place when he took over, and they went on to make history. And then just a few weeks ago, the big job, hired as head coach of Real Madrid. For starters, Guillem, I have to ask you, incredible what he was able to do at Leverkusen, but how big is the jump now from Leverkusen to Real Madrid?
You described it earlier, it's a massive jump. We know that. And guess what? Xabi Alonso himself admitted to some of his players now at Real Madrid saying, I did not know if I was ready this summer. But he actually went like, yeah, okay, I'll have a go. And now he cannot wait to start. He feels that he's got all the tools that you require to do the best he can do. And that's the thing about him. Do you know his plan? His plan was actually originally, after spending 3 years at Real Sociedad B, was to go to Leverkusen. If it worked well, as he had done, he had three choices: Liverpool, Bayern Munich, having won the league with Leverkusen, that went out of the window, and of course Real Madrid. So it's gone well, it's gone that way. But if he hadn't done so well, he was thinking, I'll go back to Real Sociedad and keep learning. That's the kind of mentality he's got. So he's giving himself the chance to be the Real Madrid manager. And I have to say, we're all very excited because you hear his voice, his body language in training, in press conferences either. And what you've got is somebody that sounds excited, that feels like he's got a lot of answers, because otherwise how do you beat Bayern Munich in Germany and win the league? And also a lot of question marks that we don't know the answer of. Will he play with three? Would he manage to get three at the back? Would he manage to get a team that pressures high with the kind of forwards that he's got? Would he have Rodrigo in the team? We don't know any of that yet, but some of the answers will be, we started hearing them today.
Guillem, do you think the fact he only took his first training session 9 days ago, we are going to get many answers in this upcoming game? Because it's not a lot of time to work with the players. And also, just picking up on you describing, obviously he's somebody you know very well. Does he also bring a calmness to the madness that is Real Madrid?
Let's start with that one. Yeah, he's calm. And he would accept whatever comes his way and deal with it. But I don't think he's ever found himself in a situation like this. Imagine if they lose 3 games in a row. Of course, as you know, that's when the world ends. And he has to deal with the world ending. So we'll see on that. But there will be some answers today, because you're right. Started training 9 days ago. He only had 5 steamers. And he's only had 4 sessions with all the players available. But Mbappé didn't train yesterday, and we don't know if he will play today because of he had temperature yesterday. But what we will know is the style that he wants to put in practice. Would he stick with 3 at the back? This was just a solution for Bayer Leverkusen. He wasn't regularly playing that way with Sanse, Real Sociedad B. So we'll see. And also, quite clearly, Bayer Leverkusen was a team that from the beginning was in the forefront, tried to get the ball very high up the pitch, were very intense in the pressure. That was his team. Now, if he's going to do that at Real Madrid, he's going to have to convince a lot of players to do that, some of which, like in the case of Mbappé, he may not be available. But Vinicius will. And will he want him as a striker or as a forward? Will he want him wide? There are 9 players that will definitely play. Huijsen and Trent for sure, because there are others that are injured. So the lineup won't be resolving many mysteries, but certainly the way he plans to play with Real Madrid, we'll see today.
Guillem, he definitely looks the part, and he carries himself with the command, the class, the aura that you expect in a Real Madrid manager. But he brings a lot of structure to his management, right? And we're coming off of an era with Carlo Ancelotti that perhaps the guys up top kind of had this freedom of expression offensively. So how do you think this group is going to adapt philosophically to what Xabi Alonso wants to do?
They better do. And this is fascinating for me, because Real Madrid knows exactly what you're saying. This is a structured football. This is possession football, positional football, modern football. And we discussed this in the past. 5 out of 8 quarter-finalists of the Champions League already play this well. So the positional football, the Pep Guardiola football, if you like, in its different versions, it's here to stay. And that's where football is going. Fascinating that Real Madrid, who have spent all their lives saying, we just do our own thing. Actually, they managed to get a manager that will bring structure. So, as I said, they better do, because there is a lot of competitions for places. Mastro Antonio is coming in August. Guller, Hendrik, Rodrigo, they're going to have to play perhaps for one place. Let's see, important as well, where Bellingham plays, because if he does become more of a midfielder, Xabi Alonso has already been saying, he brings a lot of energy, but he needs to do a job. So he's going to limit his area of influence to be able to fill in that structure. But that's going to benefit the team in the medium term, in the short term even. So it will be, yes, fascinating to see a side that has, as you said, thrive in not much organization, to actually go into a team that will control things better. No doubt about that. Will that mean the team will be better? In my eyes, yes. Does that mean that they will win more than Ancelotti? No, because football is not that logic.
Guillem, I'm so glad you're addressing Jude Bellingham. I want to get to this. Thomas Tuchel came out with some pretty explosive words about Jude Bellingham's behavior. How does Xabi Alonso address that topic? Because that seems to be the big elephant in the room in terms of a player coming back from a national duty and a bit of unsettledness.
I just feel that when somebody like Tuchel starts talking about a player, the way he behaves, talks about even Tuchel's mom and what she thinks about his behavior, that kind of thing, it's because the whole thing is reached a point where that's the next thing that has to be done. Otherwise, Tuchel will have just dealt with it inside the changing room. So it feels like the impression that Tuchel has, and a little bit in the way I described how Xabi Alonso was talking about the position of Jude Bellingham, they all want to put a little bit of limits to what he wants to do. A bit like saying, Jude, you can be very, very important, but not in the way where you spread yourself too thinly on the pitch and off the pitch, but actually where you can exploit your best virtues. And that would be a personality that's channeled towards the energy channel the right way, and also a position that he understands and grows through. So that will be fascinating. Until now, it's like Jude Bellingham. We saw it in the Euros, a little bit like do what you want from Gareth Southgate. With Ancelotti at the beginning, you're the guy that gets into the box. In the second year, it was like do what you want. And that's not where you get the best Jude. So it seems like both managers are trying to put limits to him. It'd be interesting how he deals with that. But one thing everybody says, and those that know him will concur, I concur, he listens. And he will have to perhaps change certain ways.
Great stuff as always, Guillem. Thank you so very much.